Welcome to the Michigan Trails Report. I am your host, Tom Funk. If you're new, thanks for joining us. Or if you forgot, well, that's okay. But remember, I'm here because I love trails. I am the author of a couple hiking guidebooks in the state of Michigan and on the North Country Trail. And I like to chime in once in a while on your various Facebook hiking group pages. Once a month, we like to talk about the current status of Michigan trails, trail magic, hiker trash, and even give you a heads up on trail conditions and the status of the various reservation systems like recreation.gov. So this is the report for the month of June. The rest of the month, I typically post a chapter for one of my guidebooks. I'll give you a travel narrative on one of my hikes. I'll share the details of a historical trail. Plus, every once in a while, I'll share the biography of a famous outdoor person that is from the Great Lakes or has traveled through changing the course of history. Just go to the podcast table of contents where you'll see gobs of content. I am approaching 200 different podcasts. So with all of that, let's thank our sponsor. And hey, I have a new sponsor. Jordan Shuttle Service. Jordan Shuttle Service is owned by my friend Bill Jordan, and he operates the shuttle at Tequamanon Falls State Park. And every time I go for a hike, he never charges me. So I says, hey, I should consider you a sponsor. So let's see if he gives me a ride when I go up this summer to hike. Anyways, Jordan Shuttle Service is operating between Upper and Lower Falls on the weekends through June 16th, and then daily through September 2nd, and weekends in the fall through October 6th. He also serves the North Country Trail between Grand Marais and St. Ignace. Check him out, TequamanonFallsShuttle.weebly.com. And let's see if I can figure this out. All right, there we go. Trail of the month. And this episode's trail is supposed to be in a national park, but hey, how about a national wildlife refuge? Yes, let's visit Seney National Wildlife Refuge, a 90,000-acre bog, swamp, and wetland complex that attracts billions of mosquitoes, which in turn brings in the birds and outdoor enthusiasts like ourselves. And to start, there are well over 30 miles of maintained two-track roads that riddle the refuge. Most experience these by bicycle, but you can certainly hike them as well. There are also hiking trails at the Interpretive Center. It is called the Pine Ridge, and it is a loop hike, and you can access it either from M77 at the rest area or from the Interpretive Center. And I do need to note that the center is being replaced, renovated, or something's going on there, and not to confuse that with the temporary center they opened up on River Road, where, by the way, there is another trailhead that accesses hiking and ski trails. For brevity's sake, I have posted an article on the Michigan Trails Report Facebook page about the trails off of River Road, and there's already a podcast about the Pine Ridge Trail. Go to the table of contents, and it's under the 50 UP Hikes book entries. And if you've only driven the Wildlife Loop, you're missing out on exploring some truly wild and natural places by hiking the refuge. All right, now we are into our trail conditions and alerts, and hey, no snow report this month. So let's move on to the bug report. So we're approaching peak mosquito season. I haven't seen any reports that cause me concern about black flies or mosquitoes. I did see some photos of stable flies up in the Upper Peninsula of all places. Seems a little early for me. But hey, I did create and posted last week a podcast on the difference between black flies and stable flies, the differences between the two. These two flies get conflated and confused and everything else, so check it out. As far as trail conditions, still have the bridge that is out on the North Country Trail at Bush Creek in the Trap Hills. We still have our perpetual warning of the Victoria Dam and using the detour if water is being released, and that has been happening recently. Been seeing some photos for that. There is a timber sale on the North Country Trail between US 131 and M32. The trail may be hard to follow in that area. Trail conflicts and closures. There are still gobs of MDNR campground closures out there. Be sure to visit their websites, michigan.gov/DNR about/newsroom/closures. I have posted that on the Facebook page. There are currently 45 trail and campground closures listed on the website, and I'm only going to mention here, due to time constraints, full closures that are currently in effect. Craig Lake State Park, conflicting information. It says they're closed from late May to mid-June, but apparently you can go there, you just can't have a camping reservation unless you've already made one previously. It's really confusing. So basically, if you want to camp there through mid-June and you haven't made a reservation, you can't do it yet. So keep that in mind. Chequamenon has construction to replace their toilet and bathroom buildings, shower buildings there at one of the campground loops. So you'll want to check that out. And again, on the MDNR reservation site, it's going to reflect all this information. If something's closed, you're not going to see it on their website. Fort Custer Recreation Area, modern campground closed until 31st of July. Maybe open up a little sooner if they can get done. Algonac State Park day use and campground, spring and summer closures. Ausable Trail section is closed indefinitely, but you can hike out and back. There's a bridge out. Let's see, scrolling down, Indian Lake State Park has lakefront site closures. Yankee Springs Recreation Area, day use beach house. Their picnic shelters and campground, the modern campground, is closed for the 2024 season. And Interlaken State Park also has closures with their campground and day use area. Young State Park, modern campground, closed through late summer. Seven Lake State Park, modern campground, closed through October 31st. Port Crescent State Park Campground and Beach House are closed. Metamora Hadley Recreation Area are closed. The day use area closed through June 15th. Modern Campground through July. And brand new one, Van Riper State Park Rustic Campground is closed through June 14th. In the National Forest, there is on Grand Island a possible closure for some of the campgrounds. Murray Bay and Tombolo, they're doing some prescribed burns. Basically, you can make a reservation, and if they decide to do a prescribed burn, they're going to cancel your reservation and refund you. So, and that will be a game time decision. You're only going to find out about that maybe a day or two in advance. So keep that in mind. So, speaking of camping, the number one question I see in hiking forums is, where can I disperse camp? The second, no, not where's the nearest bathroom, but where can I do a backpackable loop hike? Of course, the top answers are always, and I can hear you saying now, you're saying Manistee Loop, Fife Lake Loop, Porcupine Wilderness State Parks, and Jordan River Loop. Well, in my quest to encourage you all to be cognizant of the effect of sharing your hiking pics on Instagram, causing a stampede to these and other places like Pictured Rocks, I did a little research. Are there other places you can make a backpackable loop? Why, yes. Yes, there are. And how many, Tom? Well, depending on how creative you want to get, I found not 10 more, but 28 different multi-day loops. And here are a few. Chequamenon Falls State Park, Yankee Spring Recreation Area, North Country Trail, Sheck's Place to Kalkaska, Muskalong State Park Blind Sucker Loop, and the Reed Lake Loop. And I have done all of these, or parts of most of these. I've done them all except for doing the Sheck's Place of Kalkaska. I went one way but did not return. So there you go. They are doable. So there is currently a document I created on the Michigan Hiking and Backpacking page that I'm cleaning up and will repost with all the gory details. I will also put together a podcast on this. And I'm going to post a copy at the Hiking Michigan's Upper Peninsula Facebook page. So if you're not members of those pages, you should join. Loop hikes are awesome because you don't need to worry about the return transportation, but they usually involve some sort of sacrifice. They're either shorter, in wilder areas, and I'm not sure why that's a negative, but anyways, or it requires some special knowledge and mapping to make it work. Well, if you do the work, you make the sacrifice, well, you may be pleasantly surprised by an off-the-beaten-path loop hike. Hiker trash. Well, I need to mention someone I met many moons ago when I was doing my outfitting thing. His name is Eric Choi, and he's originally from Hong Kong, went to northern Michigan, and has retired from working to becoming a full-time hiker. And he is constantly sharing his hiking travels as much as he can. And I met Eric a couple of times in passing. Once he tracked me down at Tequamanon so I could sign his copy of Hiking Michigan's Upper Peninsula. Anyway, I don't think he listens to the podcast, but I'm sure many of you know Eric, so he just goes out and hikes. And he's been everywhere in Michigan, it seems. Make sure if you see him, you mention he's our hiker trash of the month. Keep on hiking, Eric. May our paths cross again. And speaking of paths, we had a whole bunch of people that finished their North Country Trail 100-mile hike challenge. And let's rattle through the list here. So Sam, or Spam Henry, he completed his 100-mile challenge in northwest Lower Michigan. Tom Guchenauer, he finished in the Upper Peninsula. Gary from Spirit of the Woods chapter. Brittany Deckham at Pictured Rocks. Mike Slomka, he hiked Deadman's Hill to Mackinac. Kara Ann finished in Middleville. Shannon Sapien Zudrujewski and her dog Mila. Not sure where they hiked, but it was somewhere in Michigan. And Paul Shane hiked Grand Marais to Marquette. So let's give these guys a hand and thank them for hiking and generally being out there and helping promote the North Country Trail. All right, trail calendar. Hey, go to northcountrytrail.org/events. We have National Trail Days coming up. There are gobs and gobs. Pretty much every chapter is doing something. It's probably quicker and easier if you just go to northcountrytrail.org/events and check out all the things that are going on there. Some of the backpacking pages have events. We have West Michigan Hiking and Backpacking is doing a North Country Trail Challenge. It looks like they're trying to get some miles in. They're going to be doing this on June 1st. Northern Michigan Hiking and Backpacking has a bike packing trip on June 7th to the 9th. They also have a Manistee River overnight kayaking trip on June 21st to the 23rd. And I do have a Trail Angels. Actually, it turns out to be the Trail Angels request was honored, and it was actually yours truly that helped this person out, and it was through giving him some information. So there was a posting there. Jake Gonzalez posted the following. He said he was looking for some rides between May 31st and June 1st. So he wanted to hike from the Forestville Trailhead in Marquette to Ironwood. So he was willing to pay for his help. But that's a long haul for someone to do. So I see requests like these all the time, and I recommend constantly. You probably see me do it. I'll say, hey, the Indian Trails bus, it picks you up in Marquette, maybe a mile and a half from the trail, and it drops you off in Ironwood near the trail as well. So I suggested this to Jake, and he did. And so I think this is the second time ever someone took this advice. And I have definitely given this many, many times. So let's wish Jake good luck on his hike. He'll be doing that this weekend. An event coming up, the North Country Trail is gathering for their 2024 celebration from August 21st to 25th in St. Ignace, Michigan, to learn new skills, become inspired, and they have a whole bunch of hikes taking place as well. All right, time for the reservation report, brought to you by MichiganTrailMaps.com. High-quality maps of many of your favorite hiking trails like Pictured Rocks, downloadable maps, and books on hiking in Michigan, like mine. Pictured Rocks reservation system is open, and you can book to the end of the calendar year. Independence Day is now slim pickings. 2 sites left for Friday, the 5th of July, and one of them is Chapel. So I don't know how that happened. Snarf that sucker up if I was you. Starting in mid-July, it is becoming slim pickings. The popular sites are mostly booked. Most inland and wireless sites are available. Weekends in August are almost all snarfed up, so you can still string together weekdays to make a decent trip work. And general reminder, Hurricane 12 Mile, Beaver, you have to make reservations either 6 months out, 1 month out, or 2 weeks out as they release sites. Grand Island, recreation.gov has finally launched a Grand Island page. It's been up, is working. Still gobs of availability there. Sylvania, there are a few weekends with limited availability, but there are a bunch of non-reservable sites there as well. So you got that going for you. So again, all on recreation.gov website or app. I used the website and it was working. State park campgrounds, MIDNRreservations.com. Remember, 6 months in advance you can make a reservation. I chose a random state park, and this month I chose Baraga State Park in Upper Peninsula, and they are full on Independence Weekend, which kind of surprised me, but hey, there you go. Make your reservations early. Backcountry camping sites are open for registration through the fall. You can book 6 months out. Porcupine Mountains, there are a few stretches of dates where it may be a bit of a challenge making your itinerary work, but for the most part, there are enough openings to make your trip work. However, I'd get on it. Make those reservations. Craig Lake backcountry sites reopen on June 16th due to the aforementioned closure, and there is still plenty of availability through summer. At Chiquamana Falls State Park backcountry, those sites now can be made online. That has been long in coming, and it has been quite popular. People are actually doing it. And this is going to make things much easier for those doing a through hike utilizing the park. There are only 3 backcountry sites, so once all 3 are full, you'll have to either hike through or use one of the modern campgrounds. I counted 6 dates where all 3 sites are not available, and about 2/3 of the dates have at least 1 or 2 campsites reserved, so I would get on it. Iowa Royal Ranger website wouldn't let me click through, so I think that happened last month. Maybe it's me. I don't know. But get on their website and see if you can get it to work. Iowa Royal Queen, brand new reservation page, easy to use. Several dates are full in June, July, and in August. If you're planning to go, you better get on it. Check out the calendar. Mondays are especially thin in June and July. IsleRoyal.com. All right, weather report. Grand Rapids, on and off rain, storms, sun, highs, low 70s, mid 80s, possibly have T-storms early in the week, and so you'll need to bring your rain gear with you. Marquette, a little cooler, highs in the 60s and 70s, a few days of scattered rain, no storms predicted, and Grayling's forecast is about the same as well. All right, so there you go. We are through with the reservation report and a few announcements. I've rejiggered my podcast publishing schedule. That is because I discovered I could record it in advance and schedule its publication into the future. How cool is that? That really helps me because I can do like a whole bunch at once and schedule for the future. That being said, on Mondays is when I'll release the Michigan Trails report for the week. I'll release audio versions of my books on Thursdays along with any bonus content. So Mondays and Thursdays. If you subscribe, you get notified. If you don't subscribe, I post them on social media when I get around to it. Also, I'm working on having a live broadcast with John Bailey, who is the host of the Michigan Pathways podcast. And this will likely happen sometime this summer, probably early July, probably someplace between Jackson and Ann Arbor. That's your clue. Okay, so we're going to do it live. I'm hoping to do it in a public place so you guys could come out and join us both. And to find all the various Facebook pages, YouTube channels, etc., so on and so forth, tomfunk.net. And please subscribe. It takes a second, doesn't cost anything, won't leave a mark. Thanks again to our sponsor, Jordan Shuttle Service, serving Tequila Falls State Park and North Country Trail. And, of course, the quote at the end of the show, "What on earth would I do if 4 bears came into my camp? Why? I would die, of course. Literally shit myself lifeless." That is out of A Walk in the Woods by Bill Bryson. Thanks for joining us.